Welcome to the Couch Scouts podcast. We provide league-winning analysis, advice, and tools to help you dominate your league and build a dynasty. Scout, draft, win. Here's your host, Matt Cooper.
Welcome to the Couch Scouts podcast. I am your host, Matt Cooper. With me, as always, are my co-hosts, Matt Rupert.
How you doing, my man?
And Matt Jackson.
What's going on, guys?
It is NFL trade deadline today, and it has been a busy one, so we are excited to get into that. And just as a little sidebar, a little personal banter to start the show, I'll just say just a little job-related update. It has been, honestly, a crazy semester in terms of just the spiritual openness of college students. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about this because people are here to listen about fantasy football, but I've been doing this 10 years and I've never seen more like hunger for God in young people. And people are hitting me up every day saying like, I haven't thought about God or picked up a Bible in years, but all of a sudden I just have this urge to like talk to somebody about God and I have questions, and it's just been the coolest thing. So I wanted to put that out there and say, like, we have a few hundred people that listen to our show. If you hear that and you're like, that's me, all of a sudden I want to talk about God and I don't know why, hit my DMs, man. My DMs are always open. You can find my email address, matt.cooper@crew.org. I would love to talk to anybody about this stuff. It's just like so cool what's happening right now. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that, but it's a neat thing that's happening, at least in Clemson, but I'm hearing reports from other friends of mine that are on lots of other campuses all over the country, and it's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, I see it in my student ministry as well. I always thought it was just like well, maybe this student ministry is just different, but I mean, my students, like, they're coming up to my wife and I after every like small group. It seems like, and like, hey, I'm reading this at my quiet time. Like, what does this mean? Or like, what did God mean when He had somebody write this? Which is like, it's cool. It's cool to see the hunger. So I'm in complete agreement there. It's been really awesome to watch.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into talking. We're going to talk about all kinds of things on the show, but even this afternoon, we like reworked our whole show sheet because lots of trades went down in the NFL today, and we were like, hey, we got to talk about this. It'd be a total miss not to talk about it. It's what all of our people in the Discord are buzzing about. So yeah, we're going to cover the Dynasty relevant trades that went down today and kind of what the fallout from those things are. And then in the second half of the show, we're going to do a little bit of mid-season buys and sells. So it should be a really fun episode for you guys. And let's jump right into it. We'll start with, I think these are chronologically in terms of when some of these trades were announced. I'm not sure, but we'll start with Jakobi Meyers to the Jaguars. Sounds like Travis Hunter's IR stint isn't long-term, whatever that means. I mean, it sounds like he avoided an ACL tear. So overall, like, I'm upset because he was just about to break out and now he's on the IR, but sounds like it could be a lot worse. And I'm grateful for that. Brian Thomas Jr. is dealing with a low-grade ankle sprain. Sounds like he could even play this week, but maybe he won't be full health. We'll see. Hasn't been playing that great anyway. But, yeah, like the Jaguars are banged up, and so they make a move. They bring in Jakobi Meyers from the Raiders, who was disgruntled there and very vocal that he wanted out. So Jakobi Meyers gets a fresh start in Jacksonville. What do we make of this trade for the Jaguars? I'll throw it to you first, Rupert.
Honestly, when I saw this trade come through, I was like, oh, they're going to trade Brian Thomas Jr. and get him, to a new landing spot. I really like Jakobi Meyers, not just my NC State homerism there. I think he's a really solid player. Never going to be a superstar, but I think he's like one of those players that's a better NFL player than fantasy player, but he's still quite serviceable for fantasy. I think he can slide in there and produce pretty quickly. Seems to be like a pro's pro kind of player. So I think he's going to produce right away. I think, unfortunately, a Parker Washington breakout is not going to happen now. So um, unless Brian Thomas misses more time, but I don't love the landing spot for Myers, but it can't be too much worse than the Raiders right now.
Yeah, well, Jacoby Myers, yeah, shout out NC State grad Jacoby Myers. The last few years, I mean, he was wide receiver 28 in 2022, wide receiver 24 in 2023, wide receiver 19 in 2024. So he's been a really serviceable, like, wide receiver two, like a guy that you don't want him to be a wide receiver 2 on your fantasy team if you're a contender. But if you're plugging him into your wide receiver 3 or flex spot and he's giving you wide receiver 2 numbers, that's really good. That's a championship caliber asset to have on your team. And this year's kind of been the exception to the rule. He's the wide receiver 46 on the season so far. And there's a number of reasons for that. Like the Raiders O-line is atrocious. Maybe he didn't have chemistry with Geno Smith. Maybe he's just not been engaged because he wanted out. There's a number of things, Trey Tucker breakout could play a factor there, but overall, like, I think this can only be a good change. He was wide receiver 46, but we know he can play football and we know he can produce from a fantasy standpoint. I think this makes a lot of sense for a banged up Jags wide receiver room, and I think it helps Myers, so it's a win-win in that sense. And yeah, definitely gets a boost. Myers does from a fantasy perspective, and could be a solid flex piece for a contender down the stretch. Parker Washington and De'Ami Brown, they take hits. Might have been useful pieces after the Hunter injury, but now probably won't be. And at least for me, it doesn't change anything for Brian Thomas Jr. or Travis Hunter. Their dynasty, like Myers is an unrestricted free agent. Like his contract is up after this season, so this is a short-term buy for the Jaguars to fill these injuries. And long-term, I don't see anything being affected for those two young dynasty assets. So where are you at with this, Jackson?
No, the only thing I'm going to disagree with is like not saying is saying that we don't like the landing spot, right? Or at least disagree with Cooper not liking or Rupert not liking the landing spot, right? Like I kind of like it short term for sure. Brian Thomas Jr., even when he's been healthy, like he hasn't been the guy that he was last year. And spoiler alert, when we get down to buys and sells, this is the guy that I'm going to talk about for all the reasons that you guys mentioned. But like he's been a good wide receiver when he's on a team that passes the ball. And say what you want about Trevor Lawrence, but he's going to pass the ball better than the passing attack that they were getting in on the Raiders. So I think even short term, like this is a solid move for Jacoby Myers, and I really like the landing spot personally.
Yeah, but I get where Rupert's coming from. It's like if Trevor Lawrence wasn't good enough to support Travis Hunter, how's he going to be good enough to support Jacoby Myers, who's immensely less talented? So I kind of get that standpoint too. But
I mean, it's
yeah,
got to be better. It's got to be better though. So I guess that's the point I'm making.
yeah. I mean, the volume should be there, and he's produced with bad quarterbacks before. I mean, that's basically all he's had with the Raiders is bad quarterbacks. So Jacoby Myers is used to it. But yeah, so conversely, on the other side, how does this change things for the Raiders? Likes of Trey Tucker, Jack Besh, Dante Thornton, maybe even Bowers and Michael Mayer. Besh didn't play a single snap against the Jaguars in Week 9, and Thornton was inactive. I'll start here. Tyler Lockett, I think, is the under-the-radar guy to grab here. He just gets traded there. Was unhappy, or not traded. He was cut and then signed.
Yeah.
He was unhappy with Tennessee for obvious reasons. I would be unhappy with Tennessee too. And yeah, so he lands with the Raiders, and then a few days later, Jacoby Myers gets moved out. It's like kind of the perfect storm. And I'm not saying I mean, who knows? He's 33 years old. Could he be washed? Could he be nothing? Yes. But I found him on waivers in multiple leagues. I went and checked Tyler Lockett, and there was at least 4 of the leagues that I'm in, dynasty, deep dynasty leagues, where he'd been dropped and he was on waivers. And I think he's not only worth a claim, I think he's worth spending 12 to 15% of your fab on him. He immediately played over Besh last week, like stepped in day one, no training camp, no nothing, played over Jack Besh. Sad, but true. And he's got previous chemistry with Geno Smith. They played together in Seattle. He's been a good player in the league for a long time. So maybe he's washed, maybe he does nothing, but there's a pretty big vacuum there with the Raiders after this trade, and I think it's worth a shot. I mean, I'd love to be pleasantly surprised and find out next week that it's Jack Besh season, but I'm not expecting that. So Tyler Lockett is a sneaky buy here.
I think realistically, it doesn't do anything to Bowers, right? Bowers is still the number one receiving option on that team. Like, I don't think you need to spend much time talking about that. I'm going to shout out Trey Tucker just because of where the targets had been going previously, right? Like last week was a little bit of an anomaly. He only received 4 targets, but the weeks before that, he's had 6 targets, 5 targets, and 6 targets. So he was already earning targets at a decent rate, even with the competition there a little bit. I think you could see some more targets roll over to him. He's got the speed. He's a down play threat, which I'm not sure if Geno necessarily can support at this stage in his career. But as for me right now, like I think Trey Tucker is going to slide in at least immediately to that target number 2 behind Bowers.
I would disagree that this doesn't change anything about Bowers. I think he's going to get 40 targets a game. 20 catches, 283 yards every single game.
Please, Lord, let it be. More weeks like this one, please. He actually, I lost 2 matchups just solely because one of them was against you for sure. Solely because I was playing against Brock Bowers, but I also won a few solely because I had Brock Bowers on my team. So I've got a few contenders where he's a significant piece of the puzzle, and just say I'm glad he took the time that he needed to take to get healthy, and because he
looked healthy,
playing banged up and like was out there but really not looking like himself for a while, and he actually sat out, got the rest that he needed, and looks like back to his old self, which is just really refreshing to see. So yeah,
I'll agree with Jackson. I think Trey Tucker is going to be in line for more targets. Watching his film surprised me a little bit. We've kind of like known he's a downfield threat, twitchy guy, small, like 180 pounds, but they were using him in line to block. Like they were motioning him in from the outside, and he was getting his nose in there and blocking for Genty, on the outside, crashing in on linebackers that have 60, 70 pounds on him. So I've seen a lot of like grit in his game to go along with that speed and that twitchiness he can have at the stem of his route. So I'm definitely more intrigued after this last week of watching him to see how this move affects him.
for sure. And I don't know that they would have even moved Myers if they didn't feel confident with Trey Tucker and what he's been putting out on tape so far this season. So I mean, for a guy that you think of as like a situational deep threat, he plays like 90+% of the snaps. So he's very much a full-time player, and definitely an intriguing guy to keep an eye on, and does have some upside the rest of the season here. So next trade here, and Jackson, I don't know if you've seen this one because I know you've been in meetings all afternoon. You're going to be excited about this. This is the one that I'm the most excited about. In the blockbuster deal that saw the Colts snag Sauce Gardner from the Jets, Adonai Mitchell was sent to the Jets as part of that deal. And Mitchell, he's been in the doghouse after after costing the Colts a win with a fumble on an easy touchdown. But on his 61 routes this season, he's put up 2.38 yards per route run per player profile, which is pretty darn good. Did the Jets stumble onto something here, and is he instantly their wide receiver 2? I'll throw it to you first, Jackson.
I was reading the show sheet, and I'm like, what? Like, one, the Jets traded Sauce Gardner, which is just wild to me. So but when you look at Adonai going to the Jets, like I think he is. Like I think the Jets have stumbled on something. Like he was always kind of outshined, and especially this year, looking at guys like Tyler Warren and Alec Pierce has had his moments, and Michael Pittman's been playing. Like he was just buried on the depth chart. He's no longer buried on a depth chart anymore. Like you've got Garrett Wilson who was dealing with the injury. Now he's going to come in and slide to that two role. I know Mason Taylor, who Rupert liked a good bit, was still receiving targets. So maybe he's option three at worst. But for a guy that we loved his film, a guy that we thought could come in and just dominate snap share. Like I think for right now, like you could potentially see that happening. The only thing I'm worried about is like quarterback situation right now. Like as somebody that has owned Justin Fields and several rosters, like it's abysmal. Like it doesn't look great at all. Um, so I don't know what the short term upside is, but like I think long term, if they can get that quarterback room fixed, like I think they might have accidentally stumbled onto something really great here. I will say I don't like the take. I saw a take going around Twitter when I just looked that up. Um, and I'm not going to name any names, but the take was essentially, see, this proves how much of a useless throw-in Adonai Mitchell is. And like I don't think that that's the take, right? Like I don't think that that should be the response. He just never had an option, and he's going to get one now. So I love that trade personally for the Jets.
Yeah, I totally agree. Getting two first and Adonai Mitchell back, um, like I make no bones about it. Like every time I see him flash, I'm like, "See, I told you." He's a guy that like when he flashes on tape, the flash is so brilliant, and it just stinks that he's just been buried. Like Alec Pierce has become like more than just a deep threat that he was. Like he's become like a really good X receiver that can work the middle of the field too. On top of already having Michael Pittman, one of the best receivers in the league this year, and Josh Downs that can work the slot like no one else in the league at the moment. So it's just been unfortunate that he's been so buried, and it's exciting to see him be like the best wide receiver in the room when Garrett Wilson's out hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the Jets may have stumbled onto something here. We had a film grade on Adonai Mitchell that we said at the time scared the crap out of us. I mean, we were because like our film grading system doesn't really have a way to quantify when a player takes plays off. And so as we were watching the film, like we saw the inconsistency with effort and we knew that there was high bust potential there. And we recognized that that even played a large part in his lack of college production. But at the same time, when he was engaged, like he looked like a star level talent in college. And so our film grade reflected that this guy could be like a high level fantasy starter, borderline elite fantasy asset if everything clicked right for him. Uh, and he's shown flashes of that in the NFL too. Like even that play that he like dropped the ball right before he went to the goal line and got himself in the doghouse. It was a spectacular play that got him to that point. It was like, holy cow. So yeah, this guy is really talented. Like really, really talented. He runs routes so well for a guy that big. Again, when he's locked in, he's so fast for a guy that big. Uh, Again, when he's locked in. And the ball skills are tremendous. He's got yak ability. Like he really is the whole package. He can do everything when he's locked in. So like if this guy could just get out of his own way, um he could be so good. And obviously like buried on the team like you said Rupert with so many great pass catchers, and so they had the luxury in Indianapolis of benching him when he was a knucklehead. I don't think the Jets have that luxury, right? Like, with Garrett Wilson out in their last game, somehow they won this game against the Bengals. Their leading wide receiver in terms of targets, excluding Mason Taylor, I'm talking wide receivers here, was Tyler Johnson, whoever that is, with 5 targets. So, and then it was Isaiah Davis, a running back with 5 targets. And then it was some guy named Isaiah Williams, again, whoever that is, with 4 targets. So, like, it's a bunch of no-name scrubs in that wide receiver room. And, yeah, with Garrett Wilson hurt, Adonai very clearly to me walks in as by far the most talented pass catcher on that roster. And I'm excited to see what could happen here. Like, they've got to throw him out on the field, and he's probably going to earn targets. And I think he's probably going to do something with it. Like, I've got a bunch of shares lying around, and this feels like found money to me. I'm excited.
Don't let Skip hear you say who's Tyler Johnson. That's a Minnesota boy. You're gonna get yourself in
Okay.
you're gonna get yourself in the doghouse.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Hey, we got who's the Minnesota guy that we fell in love with this year that went undrafted. We loved somebody.
We love us some Golden Gophers.
Yeah, Daniel Jackson.
Daniel
That's it.
Jackson.
Daniel
Daniel
Jackson.
Jackson,
Yeah, we loved us some Daniel Jackson. So forgive us, Skip. But yeah, excited to
If
see
only
what
the
happens
NFL
here.
loved him as much as we did.
Right. The Saints made several moves at the deadline, starting with Rashid Shaheed to the Seattle Seahawks. What changes for Seattle and what changes for New Orleans? I'll throw it to you first, Rupert.
The Saints really boggle my mind with what they've been doing. Like, they've been acting like, they're going all in. They're still trying to win games, refusing to rebuild. They trade earlier in the year for a 27-year-old Devon Vele from the Broncos. And then they go trade away their more talented wide receiver that's also 27 years old and Rashid Shaheed. So only Lord knows what Mickey Wimmis is doing.
Well,
there with the
maybe now
Saints.
they realize that they're not actually contenders at 1-7, but yet still haven't traded Alvin Kamara. Interestingly,
very interestingly, yeah. So I don't quite understand what the Saints are thinking, but man, I love this so much for Seattle. I pride myself on being the original bus driver for the bandwagon for Rashid Shaheed since his rookie
That's
year.
right.
Seeing him torch the Panthers in like week 3 or week 4 or something early in the season, I was like, that guy moves special. One of the best deep threats in the game right now. And then you pair him with Sam Darnold, who, if I remember correctly, I called him out as being a good fit for this Kubiak system, and my gosh, has he been?
Take your victory laps, bro. Take them. You've earned it.
I didn't even see him being this good. So per fantasy points data, he is throwing an insane 81.5% of his deep throws have been catchable. For context, no other quarterback since they've been tracking this has eclipsed 72%. So this has helped support like JSN's monster year so far. And now you add in what might be the best deep threat in the game right now, Shaheed. And then guess what? He's going to, scare some safeties, open things up over the middle more for JSN. Elijah Arroyo, maybe Cooper Kupp, probably not. I just love this pairing, and to add the cherry on top here, Shaheed's already played in Kubiak's system, so it should be pretty smooth. It's not going to be like a thing where it should take like half a season for him to really get fully involved. I normally warn a little bit of caution with mid-season trades and guys being able to get up to speed really quickly, but being that he's already playing the system, I think he can hit the ground running.
Yeah,
I think.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Jackson.
you go ahead.
I said I don't think much changes for the Saints here. Olave is going to keep gobbling up as many targets as he can handle from whatever garbage quarterback they throw out there. Never thought I'd be pining for Spencer Rattler to come back to support my Olave shares, but here we are. Tyler Shuck was horrendous, and I have one, like, it's a 16-team best ball league, and so just 16 teams are so deep, and so inevitably I have both Shaheed and Olave on that roster, and so inevitably they both made it into my starting lineup every week. And this week it's like neither of them got into double digits. Oh man, this is rough. Please come back, Spencer Rattler. So, yeah, I don't think much changes for Olave there, but big upgrade for Shaheed. Like you said, I mean, just goes into a much better offense, much better quarterback, much better fit for his skill set, and thrilled for my shares of him. I do think that he immediately steps in and plays above Torrey Horton, um, and probably impacts Cooper Kupp as well. So I think he's the number 2 option there. It's JSN and then it's Shaheed, and I don't think it's particularly close. So, whatever little, like, breakout, I mean, Torrey Horton, respect to what he's doing as a day 3 pick. His touchdown numbers, it's, like, crazy. He's got almost as many touchdowns as he has catches. Like, in this one, he only had 4 targets, but he got 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, I think he gets the biggest hit taken on the Seahawks because of this, but it's definitely wheels up for Rashid Shaheed here, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you with the Saints. I mean, they still have a terrible quarterback situation, and that's not getting fixed anytime soon. So not much changes for them. I would just add on to like hits on the Seahawks. Not that he was doing much of anything anyway. He would kind of have his like okay weeks, but like short term, I think this hurts a little bit Elijah Arroyo too, right? Where like he's not going to, not that he was breaking out anyway, but even now, the breakout is going to be less of a thing. And even long term, like what does this look like for him? That's something that I was at least semi concerned about.
Yeah, I mean, he had not a breakout. He had a long touchdown this week that looked really good. So, he had a decent little fantasy performance, but again, only on 2 targets. So, yeah, he's very much splitting reps at the tight end right now with AJ Barner. And so I didn't really call him out just because, like you said, it wasn't really breaking out anyway. I have still seen enough from Arroyo though this season in flashes to know that, like, that typical 2 to 3 year window for tight end development, I feel really good that at some point he is going to be a fantasy asset. AJ Barner's not going to stay in his way forever. So stay patient for those of you that followed the Couch Scouts and took Elijah Arroyo. I'm not hitting the panic button. Stay patient.
And go trade for him while you still can, I would say. Because I agree. I've seen the same flashes. I'm like, whoo. Like when you see it, you're like,
Yeah.
that looks like a big old wide receiver out there, the way he's moving there. Like,
Mhm.
oh, that was Arroyo.
Well, it's like how Loveland, like, he's splitting with Komet, and he's playing 40, 50, maybe 60% of the snaps on a good week. And then all of a sudden, he's playing 80, 90% of the snaps, and we see what can happen almost overnight. And so really, I think, like, Arroyo's out there playing less than 50% of the snaps most weeks. And I think at some point, if that flips and he becomes the guy, like, it could happen really quick. I think all he needs is the opportunity. The talent's absolutely there. So, all right. I'm going to read this last one, but we're not going to talk about it. Trevor Penning, I guess, is an offensive lineman, traded to the Chargers. So as fantasy guys, we don't really study O-line play. I can't really speak to that one way or another. Garrett made a note on there. This is big for the offense as a whole. So I'll take his word for it. And I have a lot of Chargers shares, so I would love that if that was true. Very, very exposed to Justin Herbert, who I'm still significantly above consensus on, as far as when I compare my Dynasty rankings to, like, Keep Trade Cut rankings. And I have a lot of Ladd McConkey, and I have a lot of Keenan Allen, and I have a lot of Amari and Hampton. So get well soon, Amari and Hampton. And yes, I would love it if this Trevor Penning guy was a plus for the Chargers. That's all we need to say about that. I am going to take a quick break, and before we get into our mid-season buys and sells, just want to let everybody listening know about the great resources we have available at CouchScouts.com. We have Dynasty rankings now live on the site, updated weekly. We have our extra bonus podcast that we record every week just for our listeners. We have an in-depth rookie guide that we're going to be starting to work on in less than a month for 2026. Excited to get into the rookie grind and give you guys all the insights that you need to dominate your 2026 rookie drafts when those come around. And we've got an all 22 film room where you can get in there and scout some of these guys for yourself. So lots and lots available. We also, I just want to say too, like we reinvest a huge percentage of the what comes in from our membership. So far, none of the three of us have even taken a dime from this thing, and we're constantly trying to add to the product. So really, like your membership fees are going towards making this product better and getting you more tools and more resources. We're really committed to that, and we give away 20% of everything that we make because we believe in God, and we believe that God's been generous to us, and we want to be generous to others the way that He's been generous to us. So we're actually just getting ready to make a $500 donation to a Jamaica relief ministry after the hurricane, which we definitely couldn't do if not for our Couch Scouts members being subbed to the site. So thank you guys. Want y'all to know we do have the Couch Scouts Cares Foundation, and we love getting to do stuff like that. It is so fun that we've been able to take a hobby like this and use it to do some good in the world. So thanks to y'all who are members and are part of it. And if you're not, check out the website, couchscouts.com. You can join for less than $5 a month and buy one of our annual packages, get locked in, already be covered for your rookie guide when that comes around. And appreciate you guys being part of the Couch Scouts family. So with all that being said, let's get into some mid-season buys and sells. And we're going to be talking about who do we see helping our team in the playoffs that can act as a short-term solution, maybe for injured teams, guys that we might want to buy for different reasons, primarily contender buys. And then who should we be selling? Guys that, you know, maybe we think their value is going to take a dip for one reason or another, or maybe we just think that they're overpriced. So I will kick us off on the buy side of things. I chose Michael Pittman. And the reason that I chose Michael Pittman is because I just think he's ridiculously undervalued still. I know that people went through some frustrations last year with him and was basically unusable, unstartable for fantasy pretty much all of last year. And I think that taste in people's mouths has like hung around, and people, I don't know, like I have a guy in my Bible study here that just plays redraft, and he's constantly like, "Oh, I hate Michael Pittman. I want to trade Michael Pittman." And I'm like, do you realize that like every week that you've put him in your lineup, he's putting up monster like 19, 21 and a half, 19.3. Like he's had one dud week, two dud weeks this year. He's the wide receiver 6 on the season. He's only 28, like still very much in his prime. And you know, every year, like aside from last year where we know he was playing A with Anthony Richardson and B with a broken back, like that's not a good combo.
Can we say that again? A broken back and still playing.
A broken back. And other than that, like for the last 5 years, he has been no lower than wide receiver 20 on a season. He's been wide receiver 13 in 2023, and he's wide receiver 6 right now in PPR leagues. So like this guy is and has been a very good fantasy asset. He's wide receiver 29 on Keep Trade Cut, 89th overall. And if you look at some of the trades happening for this guy, like this is, again, I'm pulling up the Keep Trade Cut database, and there have been so many trades going on for this guy. He's a very liquid asset right now. For a 2026 first, don't know where, it doesn't say, but for a random 2026 first, they got Pittman, Monangai for at least short-term production and a second-round pick. So they just went up from the second round to the first, or went back from the first down to the second. They traded back into the second round and picked up Pittman and Monangai just for trading back. Like, Pittman and a third for a first, Pittman and a second for a first and third, like Pittman and Keenan Allen for a first, second. There's a lot of trades here, like Pittman and Parker Washington. This was before the Jacoby Myers trade. So at the time, I would have said Parker Washington's not nothing in that deal. Pittman and Parker Washington for Troy Franklin, a third and fourth. I mean, like, this guy is very acquirable right now. Troy Franklin, a third and fourth. And not only you get Pittman, you get Parker Washington thrown in, which, again, pre-Jacoby Myers news. So, yeah, I very much recommend inquiring with the Michael Pittman owner in your league, particularly if you're a contender. I think he's very reasonably priced right now. He's producing week in and week out, has clear chemistry with Daniel Jones, and I still think you're going to get at least 2 to 3 more years of good production out of him. But we're seeing guys play well into their 30s these days, so 28 is not old.
Yeah, hearing those prices, it sounds like I definitely need to take that advice and go send out some offers because I could definitely use some help with the injuries this year.
Jackson, who's your first buy here?
Yeah, so I'm calling it audible a little bit from the guy that I wrote down, because I was on Keep Trade Cut and I saw something that interested me, right? And my first trade or my first buy right now is DK Metcalf, currently going right now on Keep Trade Cut as the wide receiver 27 overall. Wide receiver 27 overall. I'm looking at some of the trades that have went down for DK Metcalf recently. A first and Brashad Smith for DK Metcalf. You got Malik Neighbors, Brees Hall, and DK Metcalf for Emeka Egbuka and Amarion Hampton. DK Metcalf and David Montgomery for a first, third, and fourth. DK Metcalf for Elijah Arroyo and a third round pick. Like, that's, to me, pretty acquirable prices for DK Metcalf. And you look at what he's done with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this is just a shout out for Rupert for calling him out before the season even started. But I mean, he's been wide receiver 12, wide receiver 10, wide receiver 7. Like, he's putting up 16, 14, 19, 23, 15. He had a dud week in week 9 versus the Colts, but like, you're talking somebody that can give you pretty consistent wide receiver 2 numbers, and he's going at wide receiver 27. So as a wide receiver 3. Some of the guys that are going around DK Metcalf, just for hindsight, I mean, you got Javonte Williams going above him, Zay Flowers, Travion Henderson, Jordan Addison. You got Jalen Waddle going like 15 spots above him. Like, for me, that is an incredibly cheap price to pay for somebody that can give you some nice production.
Rupert, who you got?
Yeah, I like that call out as well, Jackson. So I went with Luke Musgrave, and this is partially due to many of my rosters with Tucker Kraft losing a lot of hope after that ACL tear this week. But Luke Musgrave is a guy that I got on early. His rookie year, so he was drafted the same draft as Tucker Kraft, 2 rounds ahead of him. And he got on the field right away. Like, week 1, rookie year, like 88% snap share, 90% snap share. And he was flashing. So he's incredibly athletic, really big guy, not as physical as Kraft is, a little bit more finesse. So think of Kraft more like Tyler Warren, and Musgrave's more like a Colston Loveland type of player. Like, a little bit more finesse, going to route you up a little bit more, not going to get all that yak and just physically dominate and terrorize cornerbacks and safeties out there. But I think he flashed enough his rookie year, and then he got season-ending injury, and Tucker Kraft comes on the scene and just doesn't give that roll back. After Kraft went out, he was on the field, and he earned targets like the second half of that game. And to me, like he still looks so fast for such a big guy that I think he's a guy that could actually step in and fill in pretty admirably for Kraft. I don't think he's the same kind of weapon because he doesn't have that yak and physicality that Kraft does. But I think he can be a serviceable tight end option for you, and then also assurance in case there's any issues with Kraft coming back next year.
Yeah, let me just read a couple of the trades I see here that have happened for him since yesterday when the news so all of these are yesterday or today, meaning post Tucker Kraft injury. Luke Musgrave for Marcus Mariota, Luke Musgrave and a fourth for a third. Luke Musgrave, I'm trying to filter out these ones that like have a bunch of players in them. Luke Musgrave for Isaac Tisla straight up. Luke Musgrave for a 2027 second. And Aaron Rodgers and Luke Musgrave for Jaden Higgins and Gunnar Helm. So that's in a super flex league with, it says tight end plus. So I don't know if that means it's like a heavy tight end premium. But that's like you're getting Rodgers and Musgrave, and all you really gave was Jaden Higgins. Like that's easy. The only one of those I don't think I would do is the second round pick, the 2027 second. The rest
That's
of
what I
those,
was going to say. That class is so loaded. That's the only one that I disagree with. But the rest of them, he's a throw-in.
yeah. So yeah, good call out there, Rupert. I wouldn't say that I have like a super high level of confidence in him, but if those are the prices, then yeah, for sure. Worth it to me. So we're going to skip the cells. We're already at 42 minutes, which is when we usually like to wrap up. And those cells could go 10 or 15 minutes if we really wanted to do it justice. Maybe we'll hit some mid-season cells on the show next week. But as always, appreciate you guys listening to the show. For those of you that are subscribed, thank you for being part of the Couch Scouts. If you haven't already, join our free community Discord. The link is in the show notes. No strings attached. We say this every week. We just want to get to know the people that listen to our show. Really active and fun community in there. A lot of good people. Great place to get advice on your trades and react to the news in real time. Hang out during game day. It's an awesome community. So join the free Discord. Leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening on, and we will see you guys next week. Have